You are listening to the Pleasant Spirit Podcast with your host, licensed massage therapist, Kyle Pleasant. Here, we will be discussing topics on health and wellness, as well as self-improvement, and his experiences as a legally blind massage therapist. And now, here's your host, Kyle.
Hello, and welcome to the Pleasant Spirit Podcast. I am your host, Kyle Pleasant. So, I hope that everything in your world is going well. I know a lot of us are ready for the spring to start. But today I was just kind of inspired to share what was on my heart about what's going on in the world. At the time of this recording, there is a conflict going across in Europe between Russia and the Ukrainians. And, for me, a war like this I've never been alive to see a war, like this. It definitely gives some anxiety for some people. It definitely gives me the opportunity to take a moment and kind of reflect on, what's going on. I know for some people it's causing a lot of anxiety, and I can only imagine what the Ukrainians are feeling and thinking, the families that are displaced or the soldiers that are fighting, and maybe what even some of the Russian soldiers are thinking about what's going on and why they're doing what they're doing. And, it definitely is a unique time in our history. We'll be looking back on this and wondering, what happened, or how can we do better as a world. But of course, I try to minimize how much I watch on the news, because there's only so much energy of that you want to take in. There's only so much anxiety or concern that you want to take on those kind of things, because it's important to live in the present moment and not, worry too much about the future until there's, something to deal with or something to worry about. I've said before on the podcast is that, tomorrow is not promised to anyone. Today, could be your last day on earth. Everyone has the same 86,000 seconds in the day. I saw on a TikTok that if somebody handed you $86,000, what would, and you had to spend it in one day, what would you spend it on? Would you spend it on, something fun? Would you just save it? Would you, ignore it? Would you give it away? How would you spend that? And we all get those same 86 seconds in the day to live our life. And what's important to consider is that how do you want to spend that time? How do you want to spend that, that energy? Because whether it's time or resources, energy, money, energy comes in all kinds of different forms, and we have to be mindful about how we spend that energy. That's kind of the main point of the book that I wrote called Fostering Energy, and it's basically we're taking care of the energy that we're entrusted to and we're responsible for. So how do you want to spend those 86,000 seconds in your day? Hoping or worrying? Spending time with our families and doing things we enjoy and being grateful and counting our blessings and stuff like that. We can spend it in that mindset, or we can, spend it in worry. Because as I say, tomorrow is not promised to anybody. And we're just wanting to find our peace in the world. And whatever is going on overseas right now, or in the, I'm in the United States, so I say that overseas, but anyone, whatever's going on over there in the Ukraine, is going to go the way that it's going to go. And everything good or bad in life is a demonstration of bringing us away from or towards peace. And sometimes, there are situations that happen in our lives, in our world, in our society that are demonstrating to us that something's not right. Something is out of alignment, and we feel bad, or we feel doubt, or we feel worry, or we feel something or pain that tells us that we're out of alignment. And so we have to go through these challenges, wars or famine or disease or, whatever, to demonstrate to us what's not working. We have to have that contrast. We have to have that situation to remind us that this isn't working for the world. And what's going on right now in the Ukraine and in Russia is demonstrating that something over there in that part of the world is not working. Maybe it's to create a new government. Maybe it is to create a new way of thinking, or redefining what democracy is. Greed is not working. Tyranny is not working. Man versus man, pitting man against man is not working. And this is a demonstration of that something needs to change. And usually, in a war, it brings about the change. The Civil War happened because we didn't agree with slavery. And until that war happened, it demonstrated to us that it was not what society needed to do. Making man, our fellow man, a slave, and we fought, against all of that, and because of it, we changed the world. We changed the viewpoint. We changed the dynamic of the future and what our country's values were going to be. And just like that, we have a war going on that says, look, we want our sovereignty. We want to be a true democratic state. We don't want, to live like a Russian does. And Russia is figuring out that, maybe the way of them doing what they're doing is not working either. That greed shouldn't reign. Tyranny shouldn't reign. An autocracy shouldn't be in power. And so all these things are happening and changing the world and changing the language and changing the way we view what's going on in the world, that, things aren't working, Things may not be working the best in the United States, but, it's through action and through people demonstrating what's not working for them that we can get our government and we can get society to start thinking about new and better ways, a world that works for everyone. And I hope that we get to that place where we start to consider the needs of the world, and we can eliminate poverty, and we can eliminate segregation and racism and all the other things that plague our society. I gave an example a while back that in the 1980s they had Mount St. Helens, and we live over here by where Mount St. Helens is, and for a long time it destroyed the land, and killed all the life and covered that area with ash. But years later, that forest has grown back in even stronger and better better ways. It's even more beautiful than when it was back before Mount St. Helens erupted. And there's a lot of thriving going on, and an entire new ecosystem is flourishing, and new animals, and we can look at this situation the same way. Nobody knows what tomorrow is going to bring, But we can hold in our hearts that when tomorrow comes, that we hope for the best, and that what's happening today is going to make a better world tomorrow, that we're going to change the landscape. We're going to move away the ash and let new life grow, let new appreciation for our fellow man and peace to be the language that we want. So I hope something I said inspired somebody out there, and I hope that you can hold peace and gratitude in your hearts as we continue to move forward. And with that, be well and have a pleasant day.
Thank you for listening to the Pleasant Spirit Podcast. We hope you found today's show informative. Please take a moment to write a review. And if you want to reach out or have show ideas, you can email at podcast@pleasantspirit.com. You can also visit his website at pleasantspirit.com. If you are in the Portland, Oregon area, you can schedule a massage or one of his coaching services at pleasanttouchmassage.com. See you next time, and always be well.